play enough chess. You won't trap me there, Gabe.
Are you sure? All right, everyone. Welcome back to White Knuckle Racing. This week, we are privileged to have not only the Reese brothers, but the what I call the first family of karting, which is Stahl Racing. They're going to be here with us. We're going to be spitballing questions left and right. We're going to try to put them under pressure, see if maybe we can get them to crack a little bit, and have some fun. As always, thank you for supporting our social medias. Hit the subscribe button at the bottom. Jam Racing will be down in the scroll section, as well as the first family of karting, the Stahl Racing. I found out today from on them. I did not know this. This is actually really cool. I looked them up. Did you know this, Jorge? They have their own website. We are
whoa, smack. Dang.
Really cool here. Look at this. They have a little merch section.
You got that merch.
So and you guys just wait, because there's some big changes. Like, Casey's been working on the website a lot, but we haven't obviously updated it yet. So we've got some big things coming, and once we kind of announce that, the website will be completely redesigned, and it should be a lot more intuitive. So we're excited about it.
It'd be a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so not sure if it was supposed to, get out there or not, that the website was up and going, because I didn't know about the website. And I found it today, and I was like, Dasha, I was like with my wife, I was like, look, this thing is awesome. So their YouTube channel, Stahl Racing, guys, I can tell you that as myself, as well with Jam Racing, they have been an integral part in our channel. Integral part in our
God.
As well
put a muzzle on them.
Yeah, as well as vlogging. So go ahead and follow them. They're absolutely the best, and the great people. We had the chance to meet them up in Indy the last couple years, and they are what you see when you watch their channel. You can tell that they're good people, but when you meet them in person, it's a whole other level. So let's get right to it, guys. So Jorge, what do you got for them?
How long you guys been racing, and why did you guys get started, and how you got started? They knocked out 3 questions right off the rip.
Good job.
Yeah, so basically, growing up, I always wanted to do the whole karting thing, and mom and dad were like, no, it's pretty unsafe and stuff like that. And Casey was always kind of in the boat.
So even a little backstory on that, every year for Christmas when he was little, number 1 on Ben's Christmas list was a go-kart.
Yeah.
Oh, smack. Every year Sam would disappoint him.
Exactly.
What a childhood. Full of disappointment.
Once I turned 18, they were just kind of feel free to do whatever now. And Casey and I went to Newcastle and just did the rental carts. And after that, it was pretty much I think we talked to the people at the front desk about hey, how do we get involved and stuff. And mom and I had gone to the Dan Weldon Pro-Am, where a bunch of IndyCar drivers and stuff raise money for charity. And it was really cool just to see what that world was like with karting. And then shortly after, Casey and I bought a single kart used. It was a Aero 4S, an old Aero 4S, and we raced that together. We shared it. We each ran one class for a season, I think. And then after that, we bought a second kart. And then after that, we just kind of monopolized the YouTube industry and became what we are today.
That's awesome.
For about 2 seasons or so. So our first season was 2015. I think Dad started racing 2017, and we've been kind of blogging since 18 or 19. I don't know.
No, that's awesome. So you guys aren't young, what started at 4 or 5, kind of like us. We kind of started later in life and stuff. So that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
You guys are now majority everybody would race with now, or at least for me, we're started at 4 or 5. So that's pretty cool, because I think being older and starting getting into karting older, you appreciate it more, because there's a lot of hard work and a lot of the money coming out of your pocket to go racing and stuff. So I think that's why there's so much ambition and fire once you start later on. Personally, me, that's pretty cool. I thought you guys maybe were young karters or something like that, but that's pretty good.
Oh, they're not telling the whole story. Ben comes out on the front porch and he says, "Hey, Casey and I have decided we're buying a go-kart. And I said, no, you're not. And he said, well, I mean, you can't stop me anymore. But then my marriage can't withstand if anything happens to you. You go get approval from your mom. And I'm thinking, that's it, end of road, no problem. And 30 seconds later, he's back on the front porch saying, she said, okay. And I thought, well, crap, we could have been doing this many years ago.
That's a good way. Just blame mom.
That's all it took.
Just blame mom. Yeah. Oh, man, that's awesome.
I can truly say that the watching the channel, Dad, for me, you're like the highlight of the channel. So I know that the two, head drivers over there to your left are great, but everybody, I mean, every time you bring up the Stahls, everybody brings up the Dad. Always. Like, it's not it's just the second you say the last name, it automatically defaults to you, Dad.
See, you guys are down there in Florida where all the old people are, and I am huge in the female 60 and over demographic.
Oh, wow.
Man,
Look at that.
that's what I'm talking about, Killian.
Others are not watching this channel because they are not safe.
Because I'm like,
So I'm going to talk a little bit about what's in picture there, the Burrell art shirt. How did that come together with going from the comment, the arrows, or whatever the other cards to ended up to? I mean, to us it was a huge shock, right? You released that vlog and it's like, aha, we're with Burrell. So how did that come about? Don't know if you can give us some background story of kind of. Is it a special deal that you guys got going on with him? Are you sponsored? Like what's going on there?
Yeah. I think Casey and I will both kind of answer this question. I've been on all sorts of chassis. I'm one of those guys that starting out, I was like I'm one of those person. You see somebody finishing above you, like it's the chassis, it's not the driver. Like that was me. And for the record, I don't necessarily agree with that anymore. But we were on Arrows. We've run old Eagles. I was on a Coyote for a while, a couple of different Coyotes, then back on Arrows, and then a new Eagle, and then Casey was the one that kind of actually got this deal together. So I'll let him get going on how it started.
yeah, so I contacted CSL. Honestly, had no idea what I was doing, no idea what it would look like. Just started the conversation about partnership, and it came around to the sponsorship deal that we have now. Contrary to popular belief, they're not free cards.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not free cards. But it's a good deal. Those guys are awesome up there, and just the fact that they put their belief in our little vlog was just really awesome.
Yeah, because
really awesome.
When this happened, we had like 250 subscribers. Like we were small, and we basically were just like, hey, like we didn't know what we were going to get from it. It was very open-ended. And we contacted obviously a few dealers and different kart chassis, and they immediately responded and seemed to be very excited. And we've got just great support along the entire way. It was like, if we had questions, they referred us to people who could give us those answers. So that was always great for us. And I guess I'd be comfortable announcing this now. So this off season, we've been talking with them a fair amount about kind of next steps and where we want to go. And so I'm actually a dealer now for PSL or for Burrell Art. So I'll be able to,
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Look at that. All this information coming out. So
all that
exactly.
what Jorge was going through a brain right now, how I can get them on TV just went right out the window. Like he was already calculating, how can I make this happen? And he said that, like, oh, great.
But yeah, so we're excited about what this season is. I think I'm also going to be kind of taking a step back from racing. I'll still be at like the big events and stuff and still race every now and then. But since I am a dealer, I want to focus a lot more on kind of helping out other people, getting, more people into karting. Obviously, if they're in Burrell, that'd be even better. But helping people out, growing the sport, and then still racing, the big ones myself. Just getting good data to help people out with.
Is that so? Are you guys going to eventually spread out and maybe go, further south, maybe Florida, bigger? No,
Yeah. Well, that's why we're talking to you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe even try a couple road racing events with us.
Now that I would like to do at some point, but I did watch a lot of stuff from Daytona, so it's a little sketchy. But we talked about potentially coming down
Just be okay with God.
But it's been a crazy off season figuring all this stuff out and stuff. But I think this season, depending on just how the dealer stuff goes, I'm going to try to stay home at Newcastle just to help local guys out and stuff like that. But I'm planning on going to Charlotte for the spring Nats. Obviously, I'll be at the Grand Nats, and then I really would love to spread out for sure. I'm trying to save my vacation days in case I want to come down for a big event, or if there's a couple weeks worth of racing in Florida, do something like that. Or even, like there's so many great local tracks in Illinois and Tennessee and Ohio, states around us. So there's so much that I'd love to do. It's just, what's going to be open given the current, state of the world, and how much can I physically do with all that I've got on my plate right now. So I'd love to. It's just unsure what all will get done.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I think, but you guys
awesome.
try. Once you do that road racing once, you guys will be hooked on it. You guys are gonna be definitely looking forward to that stuff. It's a whole nother animal, that is for sure. I mean, we didn't even know what we got ourselves into when we did it, but now we're hooked on it. So
yeah,
that's how we tell everybody.
My questions too.
Now,
if you're coming down to Charlotte,
absolutely.
Cool.
Well, and the thing is, we mentioned I haven't been, like Casey and I and Dad still haven't been in karting even longer, but like yesterday was the first time we've been in any sort of a kart, and that was just an indoor track. So Charlotte's going to be the first time, because nothing's still open. It'll be the first time that I'm in a kart since, for real, since the Grands, basically. So I'll be shaking off the rust quick, but I'm super excited about it. It should be a ton of fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about that track too. I'm pumped that they're doing a spring nationals as well. Definitely excited about it. So I'm excited. I need a rematch too, so you better run heavy because I can't get down to light or medium. I can't. There's no way I can get down to light or medium. So you guys, one of you better run heavy.
All right. Well, and that was the thing I was thinking. I may go crazy, and I may just bring. Now that I'm a dealer, I can get carts and stuff. So I may. Plus, these guys won't have run their carts yet. So I'm trying to figure out if I can run one cart in a couple classes, or if I need to, set up a couple different carts. But I'll get you a rematch for sure. I'll enter heavy for you.
Awesome, perfect. All right, I'm happy.
So here's so neutral track. That should be a good race to watch. Now, can you guys talk about Ghost engines? I see the engines you guys got in the back. What do you guys got going on there?
Yep. Kind of similar to the PSL. So these guys are local. It's Matt Geist and Derek Hastings here in Indiana. We've raced with them since the beginning. They started this little business of theirs, and it's really just trying to help each other out. They're great guys, and we just try to promote them. They do great work, and really you can't. They're like the cheapest out there, and
well, less expensive. I don't like that word cheap, but they have phenomenal deals.
I was going to jump in and say that too.
I think Matt told me, I think like an engineer on like actual engines and stuff, and so I don't know. I feel very safe.
Yeah, but they're great guys. It's a way to help.
You guys are in agreement with. All the audio's but well, I was gonna say you guys are in the same agreement with us. You can't go out there as a straight out of the box motor anymore.
Well, and I'll always say this about ghost racing is whenever I lose a race or something like that, it's never ever come across my mind like it's an engine problem or something like that. It's always it's anything else. I've got all sorts of things, but I'm out there. I was out there on like a 3 or 4 year old motor that Matt looked over and, doing just fine in some of the classes out there. So, but like Casey said, more than anything, they're just the best guys. I mean, we shoot them a text, we get responses immediately, and it's like that for everybody. So we really appreciate everything that they do for us.
That's cool. That's good. Jorge's the one that blames everything but himself.
Or
everything.
Everything's on
Jesus, man.
Every time.
Everything. The helmet's not fitting right no more. The helmet doesn't fit right. The suit just looking different.
The motor.
The shoes are they aren't shiny as they used to be. Everything is wrong other than him.
Well, all right. I said this the other day. All right. I took ownership. Right. I've been experimenting with different stuff. I'm the chassis guy, right? So I experiment with like weird crap all the time. So I've been on a makeshift. Our chassis don't come with 40 millimeter axles and stuff. So I put 40 millimeter axle in my chassis and I cut the front end up and changed the front end. So we did a whole bunch of stuff to my chassis and it didn't work out. So
went backwards.
Yeah, we went backwards on that big
backwards.
time. So and then I never to replace the springs in the engine. Miguel's the engine guy, so if like Miguel's upkeep with the engine, changing the oil all the time. So I'll run my engine for 24-hour race, drain the oil a couple of times, not replace anything, and then show up at a big event and hoping I could win. So this year I'm going to focus more on the bigger events and keeping my maintenance up to date, and then being on a 4-cycle kart and not screwing with it.
Yeah.
Hey, would you like that red?
Yeah. I can get you a deal.
Red means stop. That's stop. Okay. Green means go. If I want to run in the back, I'll get a red cart one day.
Oh, I mean, you were running.
You finished in front or behind me at the Grands? I can't remember.
I fell asleep the last 2 laps.
So,
I kept looking back, and I was like, "He's getting closer. He's getting closer. He's getting closer." And then you're bumping my rear bumper. I was like, "No, he's there."
You should have
blocked.
blocked.
How hard do I block? I mean, I almost threw it
every corner.
I almost threw it in one more time, and then I was thinking about, I was like, how hard do I run him? Like, do I like really run him hard off and like maybe off the track? I was like, dang it, no, crap. If it was anybody else, I probably would have wrecked you.
It's true. He's done it to me.
Yeah, I felt when Casey passed me, I got to his bumper and I was pushing as hard as I could. Out of every turn, I would hit him. I was hitting him hard, but not enough to like get him squirrely or wreck him. And I remember it was the turn he goes towards the stands, and you turn right, that right-hander towards the stands. He goes to the outside, gets pinned on the outside, and you make a move on the inside. So I was like, Casey or Ben, I had such a good run on you. I was like, screw it. I slammed into the back of you, and that gave you enough to make a pass. I was like, well, guess I'm going through. It was the finals. I was having a bad week. It was the finals. All gloves were off at that point.
Absolutely. I know the feeling.
Yeah. You made the pass, and that was no space, but I was going with it too.
Well, like Jorge was saying, like usually he does the chassis and I do the engines, and well, Gabe is just Gabe. Do you guys have a specific person who kind of works on what? Like Jorge, like my front end's messed up. I take my hubs off, loosen my tie rod ends, and I say, check it out, Jorge. That's kind of how I am, because everybody kind of has like with like the TB, everybody has like a little simple little work. Do you guys have anybody that kind of does what on what's cart? Because I mean, you guys got 3 carts, so when kind of thrashing too.
So Ben does chains.
That's bad.
I do I do a lot of sprocket and chain stuff. Like that's like my biggest role, I'd say. Casey is like
Everything
knowledgeable about the engines, I'd say, more than anything. And I think bounce like changes and ideas off each other on like, hey, what should we do on the front end here? Like, this, that. But I'll say what's very difficult is that these 2 guys, their weight is a lot more spread out differently than mine, and their carts often are handling much different than mine because of that. So that's what's tough for me, is being a bit lighter than they are. And, I have a different seat than they use. I don't have the extended front porch that they do. So it's tough to get good data back and forth with them. But I'd say for the most part, Casey and I usually do our own stuff. Besides, I'll do the chains for pretty much everybody, and Casey will do the engines for pretty much everybody. And Dad just kind of sits around and smokes a cigar while we work.
That's a lie. Here's the
that's like Dad. Our dad, he just sits there and drinks beer.
Yeah,
that's not true. Here what they're talking about is nothing. Dad flips the tires. Dad changes engine oil.
Oh,
and
that's important stuff right there.
Shoot, flip tires. They're too hard to flip.
They are, exactly. That's why I have them do it.
Old man strength. I got that. Give me that real quick.
All right, so
that's pretty funny, because I'm the same way with them, because Jorge runs heavy and so does Gabe. So the only person I have relation is with Junior, but Junior is also he's 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah, he's
And
6'2", he's tall.
and then we have different driving styles too. You know, even though we have the same car, same chassis, they're just different driving styles too. Well, I mean, mine's a little different because of my front. My front end. But yeah.
Oh, you see?
So
that worked out, and that was my idea.
No, it wasn't. It was Chad's idea.
How is the relation that
It still worked out.
So how's the relation in the pits? Because obviously we see when the camera's on, right? And it's all great. But when these two are off camera, is a nonstop going back and forth. And so I just kind of just sit in the middle and I'm like, all right, well, you know, how are Casey and Ben like during the pits when things are not going right? Like how are they with each other?
They're already smiling. It's bad.
This is good.
It's just like you see on camera. We're just
Yeah.
Actually, we don't talk outside of the karting stuff. Like, we actually don't associate at all. But like, we started this vlog thing, so we feel like we have to honor it. But yeah, outside of that, we don't talk about. Did we freeze?
No, you're good.
No. Okay. we're in shock. This is like I can't edit this. Okay. We're more in shock. We're more in shock than you guys are about that. Like that.
We do bickering.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bickering between me and Ben.
So
at least that's good because Mio gets off the track and he's yelling at me. Those changes didn't work, and I just tell him he didn't drive it good enough.
If you guys saw the 4-hour endurance race that we did when Jorge did not have any brakes and I was the one driving the cart, you could just see me run and just start yelling and screaming at them because I was just so pissed off. How you had a cart sitting in a garage for 6 months and 4 laps into the race we run out of brakes?
Yeah,
well,
I
that's
was mad.
A lot of our bickering. So there's a lot of footage that we don't show you guys.
Now, actually, I wish we were recording more of it because
that's true.
Pretty entertaining stuff, really.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, you guys find that too, where it's hard to balance, you know, making changes to everybody's cars, getting the camera going, because we struggle with that all the time.
We do.
So I'm not
definitely.
People that don't obviously we get, at least I've gotten some negative feedback of like, oh, stay off the vlog, stay off the podcast and go practice, right? Like I've gotten a lot of that, but I don't think people realize that that part of like myself getting better is watching my videos, right? But not only that, it's also so hard to like constantly be recording everything. And just like you guys said, a lot of times we're all wrenching and we're thrashing and we're all fixing this cart, that cart. And then we, you know, one of us looks up and says, why are we recording this? You know, so that couldn't be more true about a vlog. Probably the best stuff that you could say that can make it on a vlog never makes it because we're all always worried about racing. So it means that racing always comes first and vlogging comes second, which is why that happens. But yeah, it's absolutely true, and it's a weekly thing. We go to the races, and there's that one moment where why aren't we recording? And then obviously Jorge will get mad at somebody because we didn't record something, and then that's kind of how it goes. So, is there anything?
That's it. Because I'm the one changing the whole chassis. Like,
no, the last thing I'm thinking about is turning the camera on while my cart's folded up like a pretzel.
I'm just saying, I'm the last. I when I do a chassis change, that last race for SSKC, I didn't do a chassis change. I changed the whole freaking chassis. I took everything off my chassis and put it on a different chassis.
Correction. He made it by himself. Correction. Everybody else under the tent did that. Jorge's like, yeah, so I'm over here changing my chassis, and these guys are doing a great job. I might buy them beer Natural Light because they ain't doing that great of a job.
Well, the chain came off. The chain came off.
I didn't do
the chain popped. Exactly. You're quick. I'll blame.
I didn't do that chain.
Ben did voodoo from Newcastle.
Nope, I did not do that part.
Going back to the beginning of karting, right? When you guys first started, is there anything that you guys would change? So if there's one thing that you think you could have changed 2 years ago that you do now, is there anything that you guys would have done differently when it comes to karting?
I can think about like 4 or 5 chassis I wouldn't have messed with. That was a lot of wasted time. But
Dad?
I think that's a good question, because we went out for our first day of practice after the boys got the cart, and I think it was our first lap. We threw a chain, and we were down for 2 hours because we didn't have a chain tool, didn't know how to get the chain apart, and we basically just didn't know anything. But like we grabbed a saw, like we were trying to like saw the chain, like we had no idea. But when you look back at all those things, you really can't bypass a lot of that experience. It comes tough. I think the one thing that we've done that I think that we've done right is the boys. You're going to have racing accidents, and one of the things that makes them better than me is they're less afraid of accidents than I am. I don't want to get into anybody and spin them out. We'll see if that changes this year. But when we do make a mistake, we try and go talk to the people, just make sure that it was square. Let them understand either it was our mistake, a racing accident, or what it was. We've tried to be straight up with people out in Newcastle to keep those relationships good, and I think that was the right thing to do.
Good.
That's probably a good thing, because here in Florida we have 100 different tracks, but everybody races those same tracks. It's like you can't get away from them. So
Yeah,
you spin one person out, then you'll go to Monticello, which is like 3 hours over by Tallahassee, and they'll remember that happened in Ocala.
yeah, it's so hard. We
can't get away
everybody.
from anybody.
Yeah, and we were, and I'm more the aggressive one. I'll be honest. There's when the visor goes down, I'm like I'm in the mode, and if I take someone out, I don't go directly, like after a race, I don't go directly to them. I let them cool off, and then I go walk up to them a little bit later and then hand them a beer or something to talk it over. And if it's my fault, I'm right away. I'll be like, I made a mistake. I screwed up. And that at first I would make, it would be pretty bad. Like I make a lot of mistakes.
He still does.
Starting out.
He's still
like bad. And then I still do, but now it's like, I'd rather spin myself out than wreck someone at a local race. When it comes to state races, national races, the mindset changes when it comes to racing.
Now, with all of this great YouTube fame that you guys have, have you guys noticed any different treatment at the track? Like, especially being at your home track, Newcastle? Like, as far as like when other drivers and things like that, how is that relation? Because like for us now, like we'll be at the track and people do come to us and say, oh, we watch your YouTube videos and things like that. But I can only imagine the first family of karting has to get the red carpet treatment, right?
Free practice for you guys, huh?
It is cool. Like you said, people come up and say, hey, we watch your stuff. And that is just still, it blows my mind that people would watch, like take time to watch our stuff. So it's just, that's really cool. But as far as being treated different, I don't think so. Because I still get, I'll get taken out. People learn
that's being treated differently.
Yeah. So,
I think people race harder. Don't you think they race like the competition? I feel the level has like stepped up.
And Newcastle, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I almost said this earlier whenever you were talking about kids that have been racing since 4 and 5, and I think when we first got started, it wasn't like that. It seemed to be a bunch of people who, they've been racing for maybe a few years, or they raced when they were younger, but they were just kind of getting back into it. But now it's like the people who are winning all the races are like 16, 17-year-old kids who've just been racing forever, and, we're in the senior classes now. And it is a double-edged sword, because it's great because it makes you, you need to be better, because I feel like if I can beat these kids here, I can compete with anybody on the national level. But it also sucks because, like you said, like we have to pay for everything on our own. Like, the kids might have parents who, take care of stuff like that for them. Not always, but like, I think that's a tough thing that we, we've always with.
Yeah. We were the same way. I mean, our dad made us grow up. I mean, we always had our stuff, we grew up, on dirt bikes and stuff like that, and ended up getting road bikes. And our karting just started differently because it was just, he said, you guys want to race, it's on you. That's it. I mean, that was the most support that we got. And he's always there at the tracks when he can be and stuff, And then the night he's retired, and you can never find him. I don't even know where he went. I think he went to Oh, he went to Sebring this past weekend. But it's working on the cart like you guys. I don't know if you guys have any type of I think you guys started your mechanical background working on carts. I mean, because me and Jorge, we always kind of had our stuff, and I had a few Camaros, and I'm a diesel fuel service mechanic now, so working on stuff is kind of easy for me. But Gabe sits behind a desk, so he might be able to relate a little bit on learning how to work on something.
Yeah.
So has karting made you guys kind of like more mechanically inclined, do you think? Maybe kind of like, engineering stuff and trying to making stuff work, you think?
100%. Yep.
And I always flaunt that too a little bit. Like my friends have like problems with his car. I know nothing about it, but I'll act like I do. Like, oh, well, whenever we work on our engines, like this, that, and the other. And it's like, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but it gives me some clout. I have some more street credibility now.
Yeah.
That's great. Because I mean, like
awesome.
that's the thing. The karting brings out a lot of different aspects of life. You have to learn how to work on your own stuff, especially in that type of group. You bring your own cart to a track, you working on it yourself. You start learning a bunch of different things. Working on them, track layouts. I can't tell you the track number. Jorge's like, yeah, turn 4. I'm like, 1, 2, 3. Oh, 4. Yeah, that one. That's how I am. You're gonna have to give me a map and do that, because that part I can't remember. I was like, it's the freaking turn hairpin I'm facing you guys. That one. That's kind of my thing. I probably should get better at that, but it's the least of my worries right now. I just need to learn how to drive again.
Is there any advice that the three of you would give to somebody that's just starting in karting? So if somebody would just walk up to you at the track tomorrow and say, hey, where should I start? What should I do? What would you guys tell them?
This is interesting because I get a fair amount of messages about, like, I answer all this kind of stuff for our Facebook or YouTube or whatever. And I would say, just make sure you're not on, garbage chassis. Like, you don't need anything nice, shiny, brand new, but we were very lucky. Like the Aero Forest that we had, great 4-cycle car. I see a lot of people that get into it on, chassis that they're never going to be good on. So a lot of times people will get discouraged and think that, wow, they're just terrible, because in reality, they're on an engine that has not been maintained well at all, or their cart is, cracked, but they have no idea to know about that. So I'd say starting out, you just want to be on equipment that you can go out there and be competitive on. I'm not saying go out there and, get something that you can go out and win on, but you just don't want to be, 30 cart lengths back from anybody just because you're on bad stuff. But just realize, it doesn't happen overnight. It's very few and far between to go out there and just immediately take to it.
I think it's real simple. You buy solid equipment, and you always ask for help.
Yeah, I'd say asking questions is something too, because a lot of times people have a lot of pride, like especially if they do have some sort of a mechanical background, and like they should know how it goes. They don't want to ask somebody else, but always ask questions. I mean, there's not a person on the grid that you can't learn something from. Even guys starting behind you, I'm sure, have knowledge or wisdom they can give to you. So don't be afraid to ask questions and always be learning, whether that's on the track, watching videos, in the pits. Just, be a sponge. As stupid as that sounds, just absorb everything you can.
And number one, seat time. You've got to get that practice.
Yeah, just understanding the basics too. There's so much to it, even in the Briggs class. Just kind of as much as you can get an understanding, and that's where the asking questions comes in. Really, is the more you understand what changes do, the better off you'll be.
Oh God.
No, I gotta get up because Shadow's giving me this look like I gotta go outside. Okay. I have kids. There are 2 of them. Very furry.
Do you guys happen to run into some people that you just can't ask anything?
There are certain people that I'd say, aren't going to answer questions, I feel like. And it's funny because whenever you're new and starting out, anybody will help you. It's like, oh, yeah, like this is what's going on. But as you get more competitive and you start moving up the field a little bit, people are less inclined to help you out. But for the most part, I think we're very lucky at Newcastle, at least, where people, aren't afraid to, oh, what gear are you on? They're going to tell you. It's not that big of a deal. And I'll tell people too, if you're going to beat me on the track. I don't want to necessarily win because I withheld information that, but I don't even remember what the question is. I just been talking.
That's a good thing about it.
Yeah, so we know who the
thing about it.
Yeah, man. Casey's
Hey, you guys got a Miguel too over there.
Yeah, Miguel just rambles. He just talks and talks and talks. He goes, "What were we talking about again?" I was like, "Oh my god!"
I'm sure you know I'm the one that's talking 90% of the time for the three of us.
Yeah.
Your dad said a couple words anytime he's like,
Well,
I'll chime in. Afternoon
I asked
talk with dad.
Well, he answered the question. I mean, is it hard sometimes to get some information from some people? And it's true. Once you start becoming a little bit more competitive, everybody's lips are getting a little tighter, and then kind of like, it just becomes, that's the aspect of it. I think you're definitely not going to go to bigger and big events and be like, hey man, what gear you on? Nope. Hell no. Not only no, but hell no. And not only that, and then I would do right back to them. I take that little piece of black tape and put it right over my number on that rear gear. Because, you always got that one guy, man, there's a good looking cart, and he's just spinning your rear axle. He's trying to see what gear you're on.
Right.
Sneakiness. Yeah. When we first started racing, we raced a lot in Jackson. A lot of those guys were old dirt racers. I'm not saying they're the biggest cheaters, but they're definitely not the most honest people in the country. The dirt racers, that's for sure.
The gearing we were on, I didn't even know what a rev limiter was. it would never hit the rev limiter. I was like, Jesus, why am I so slow? Well, they're like, well, are you hitting the rev limiter? I was like, what's that? Nope.
So you can tell where he's definitely not the end guy.
Oh, now, if anybody comes up to me, be like, hey, what are you on? I'll be like, hey, this is my gearing. This is my setup. I was like, I'll give you everything.
Ruins it for game.
Here I spend all day on the setup because I'm the one that usually shows up the day before, right? So I spend all day trying to find a setup and trying to find something with texting and going back in information until I dial the card in how I believe is the fastest, and I'm running with the leaders. And then Jorge shows up the next morning and it's like, yeah, Gabe's cart, he did this, and this. Go ahead and do it to yours, and then everybody else is up to speed. So, which is, I mean, it is what it is. I guess at one point
there's got to be a little bit of information holding. You always got to keep that extra edge. I mean,
I don't give a crap.
It's racing, not Boy Scouts camp. We're not trying to all be friends. You got to be a little bit on edge.
Oh, we are friends. So
I don't give
like
a crap.
Jorge just told everybody last podcast. Jorge's like, oh, I tell everybody what my rear gear is, but I don't tell them my tires are wider in the back. My tire's a little bit wider, so your gearing is out the window.
It's not out the window. It gets you in the ballpark.
I trust you as far as I can throw my truck.
So
you're my brother.
For us,
if you guys ran mid-pack or back like I do, nobody ever asks you anything, so you don't have to.
That's true.
That's
gonna be that's my next plan for next year.
Well, that's what you did the second half of the year.
I remember when I went to Orlando.
Oh yeah. It was not good.
I remember when I went to Orlando and I left my floor plan on the bottom eighth of the cart. Man, did I get everybody squirreling. All you gotta do is just do something stupid like that. Wasn't out of tech. It was WK rules in Orlando, and everybody's like looking at that floor plan. It's like, yeah, so what? I can run it.
All right,
so I guarantee I'm gonna come back next month.
We're gonna go ahead and move on to our misfire question, and this one's gonna be for Dad. All right. If you had one lap, one race, right, with everything that comes into it with setup, the gearing, if you had to just a one lap race, but include setting up, leaving, and everything, which son would you take?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Gabe's horrible. Gabe just go right through the throat. God, he's worse than us.
I play enough chess. You won't trap me there, Gabe.
Are you sure? You had to pick one, just one.
I couldn't pick one. Ben can do some amazing passes on the track. He's got a really, really good feel for passing opportunities. And Casey is constantly going back, and he's the more technical of the two, getting the setup information. He's a good driver too. I'm not saying that because I've seen him. Casey seems to have a little bit more bad luck.
He's smiling. My dad loves me.
So they're very different. And what I typically find myself doing is when one of them's running well, I root for the one that's not. So
That's good. That's good. So, man, this was
So there's no chance. So there's no chance you would wreck one of them for a win, then, huh?
if it was only a one lap race, I'd still be half a lap down. So.
Oh wow.
So, man, this was an absolute blast. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Hopefully, we could do this again in the future. Maybe as your Burrell and PSL karting, you start to take over. We can have you on and talk about how everything's going. And we thank you guys. So make sure that everybody subscribes to the YouTube channel, White Knuckle Racing. Hit the subscribe button. Jam Racing will be at the bottom, as well as Stahl Racing, which I'm pretty sure you're already subscribed to if you're watching this, the first family of karting. But again, guys, thank you so much, and keep following along. So we'll see you next time.
Catch you on
Thank
track.
you,
Hey, guys.
Hey, thank
Nice to
you.
meet you.
Thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure.